Tonight, we continue to spotlight the community of Paris, where they thrive, but also have some of the issues in that area common to others.
Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck is live at Hartfield & Company as we take a look at flooding concerns this winter. Bill.
You know, in the Storm Tracker Weather Center, whenever there's a heavy rain, Stoner Creek, which runs through Bourbon County and Paris, is usually one of the first places to flood, and it does it quite often, so it's always on the forefront of our mind. That was going to be the original focus of the story. We're going to talk about the flooding until I spent the day along Stoner Creek, and a day, ironically, where there was flooding. But when I spent the day along Stoner Creek, talking to the folks and seeing the beauty, the focus of the story became something else. Rising up from a spring near the Clark County Fairgrounds, Stoner Creek winds its way for 87 miles across Clark and Bourbon counties. It passes through some of the most beautiful horse farms in the world. It's the water supply for Paris and 80% of Bourbon County. It's also a source of danger from flooding.
Too often do we see floods like this, but it's worth it to be down here. And the big flood months here on Stoner Creek would be more like March, April, May. But we've had floods in every single month of the year in the past 50 years.
Estimates put about 170 buildings in potential danger from flooding in Paris. In 2009, the Friends of Stoner Creek installed a flood gauge and shared the data with the National Weather Service, who in turn provide them graphical warnings.
It shows you how the water's coming up, and it shows you, what the crest is going to be according to the National Weather Service. And you kind of, after you live down here for a while, you kind of look outside, how much rain's falling, and you kind of have an idea of really what's going to happen.
It floods often enough that they're used to it and prepared.
I really don't worry about it. The house is built for it. We just move our stuff upstairs. I have everything on wheels, roll it in the elevator, take it up.
In the Storm Tracker Weather Center, whenever there's heavy rain, Stoner Creek is usually one of the first places that we see flooding happen. And of course, it's happening here today. But when it's not flooding, Stoner Creek is truly a jewel cutting through the heart of Bourbon County. One of the things missing from the banks of Stoner Creek is a bourbon distillery for its namesake county. A group wants to change that with construction of a distillery on the old Stoner Creek Country Club property to boost bourbon tourism in Paris.
One of the things we know we need to do with tourism and for youth recreation or recreation for anybody here locally is to increase the accessibility to the creek. Right now we don't have any public boat docks in Bourbon County.
Pat Conley is with the group Friends of Stoner Creek.
This pool right here, this is a major largemouth bass pool, okay, largemouth bass. And when we had more boat ramp access, there would be fishing tournaments on here, even in recent years, frequently throughout the summer months. I like to see more kids, frankly, out here boating, kayaking, canoeing, fishing. We love Stoner Creek. We think it's one of the best kept secrets, right or wrong, in Bourbon County. The sky's the limit as far as I know in terms of increasing Stoner Creek as a recreational amenity.
And we are out here at Hartfield & Company, a bourbon distillery in Paris, but it's not on the banks of Stoner Creek. So we got kind of that technicality, but they are using Stoner Creek water. So we do have it covered that way. You know, Stoner Creek, it was one of those place names where, like a lot of things in Kentucky, it's kind of a mishmash. It's something difficult to say. They're trying to make an easier way to say it. There was a pioneer who came through, one of the contemporaries of Daniel Boone, Michael Holsteiner. Well, that name was just too much of a mouthful, so they said, you know what? Michael Holsteiner, your name from now on is going to be Stoner. And the rest is Bourbon County history. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck. More LAX 18 News and a look at a winter storm right after this. And welcome back to Paris. And with that, we are out here at Hartfield & Company the great bourbon distillery here in Paris. As we've been spotlighting Paris all week for you, and again, it's just a great community to come on up to. If you're coming up from Lexington, it's about a 20-25 minute drive. It's the most beautiful drive that you'll ever enjoy, with the horse farms that are going by, and even with the ice storm out there, it is a pretty view for you. And again, historic Paris, this is one of the great buildings that we're sitting in here, but I mean, if you love history, this is a place to come. And for a railroad enthusiast, the tracks going through town here are also kind of a cool thing. So there's a lot going on here in Paris. And again, Hartfield Company, that's our host out here today, and we thank them for everything they have done for us and a couple of stories they provided.